Welcome into episode 107 of About the Cards podcast live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stephen Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins.
Howdy.
Ben Wilson at our trading cards. And I'm
Hey.
Tim Shepler at BigShep79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors. I'm going to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards.
10 cents.
We're available as a podcast everywhere you can find one. And check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. We have a very special guest host hanging out with us tonight, Nick Duante of Examine Baseball. What's up?
What's up, gentlemen?
Forbes,
Welcome.
Forbes writer, just an all-around good guy hanging out. I think this is the second appearance on the show.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Nick? How you been, bud?
Welcome. Good to see you all. Nice late evening on the East Coast.
It's the summertime, right?
Yeah. So
you're not teaching right now, right? You got some time off?
Every day Saturday.
Oh, okay.
That's right. See, no teaching, no baseball. I mean, you have nothing but time right now, right?
Yeah. Nothing but time. I love it. So welcome in. What have you been up to? It's been a while since we've talked.
Man, things are, going as well as they can and here and, getting through the school year. And, that was interesting, and having to teach, from behind the phone and the computer, was an interesting experience. And, in that last year, I've been able to branch out with Forbes and get some traction on that column. So that's been interesting, to see develop. So that's been fun, and just getting, further into the hobby. It's been a great ride so far.
Episode 56, by the way.
Yeah, 56, almost doubled up here. What have you been writing about lately? What are some of the topics you've been hitting?
All right, great. So the last piece I had, and I'm real proud of this. I was able to get the first kind of big interview with Vayner Baseball's CEO Greg Genske. So, a lot of people follow Gary Vaynerchuk, and if they know his company, Vayner Media, he also has a sports agency, Vayner Sports. They specialize in football. And last week, he went on his program to make an announcement that they were expanding into baseball, and they were hiring Greg Genske to bring over his GEM agency to, lead Vayner Baseball. And Genske's Justin Turner's agent, as opposed to a bunch of other major leaguers. And he's been an agent, for close to 20 years. So it was really exciting to speak to him. And that was my latest piece for Forbes.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. He's just got Gary V's got his hands in the middle of everything then, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, he's running a really big company, and I think this is a great move for them to get into baseball. And I thought it was only a matter of time once they get the football thing up and running that he would eventually play into baseball. I don't think this has anything to do with like the baseball cards per se. But I just think this is another arm of their business, and he brought in a really experienced agent. Vernon Wells Jr. is underneath him, and a lot of you guys know Vernon Wells, played with the Toronto Blue Jays, and his dad was the big artist with the Donruss Diamond Kings. So a lot of connections there, and leave it up to Gary to make a big move.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Well, we appreciate hanging out with us tonight. We have a lot of fun things to chat about and get to. So let's hop into it. The week that was last week's release is Topps Living Week 122. We had card 327, Eddie Murray, Hall of Fame first baseman, the Baltimore Orioles. He sold just over 2,400 cards. And card 328, Sean Murphy, rookie catcher, Oakland Athletics, sold 2,151, and we know that one went to Ben.
That's right. I was kind of surprised that Murphy's numbers were a little low. I thought that this might be a little bit of a spike just because he's a position player, rookie of the year contender and under normal circumstances. But man, that Eddie Murray, I can't wait to get it in hand. He just looks phenomenal.
I'm gonna beat you. Don't talk to my mama that way, right?
Yeah, the old mutton chops, dude. It's just an awesome card, man. Throwback to the old Oscar Gamble era, 70s.
That says 1978 baseball right there.
It really does. It's just a cool card, and that's what I love about some of the stuff that we've seen over the last 6 months. Some of the stuff's just really cool, and there's no right or wrong way to make a card and how you want to collect it.
I do like that the Trivia on the back relates to his teammate for a short time, Cal Ripken Jr.
What's it say for those people that have
Who was named the
challenge dice?
1983 AL MVP award winner? The answer being obviously Cal Ripken Jr.
They were teammates for like a decade, though. From like 81 to 87?
Something like that, yeah.
Is that a decade to you?
Well, it's pretty close. It's a majority of a decade. So make sure you check out Topps Living Stat for a full breakdown of where these cards fall, respectively, in the set by team and by position. We also had 2020 Topps Archive Signature Baseball Retired Players Edition drop. We got some, I think you posted Eric Chavez as a Diamondback, Dave Stewart as a Ranger, Philly. Yeah, so do you find any?
You play word association, right? And we'll use one of the most iconic A's, Ricky Henderson, right? It's either an A's or Yankees, period.
Padres.
It's not going to be the Padres or the Mariners or the Dodgers or the Red Sox. It's like, Eric Chavez had a good career, not great, a lot of injuries.
See, I think of Chavez as a Yankee.
And there are some. So you can go out and get a Chavi with a Yankee if you want. It's just, Dave Stewart with the Phillies. Come on.
Okay, real quick, I was just sorting through some cards the other day, and I saw a Jason Giambi Rockies card, and like my mind melted for a second because I was like, he was with the Rockies, and then didn't he finish with the A's?
He did. He
like,
came back.
Yeah,
it's like literally, you're making 2004. Tops. You have to make this player with whatever team they're represented on that year, right?
And brain just kind of like, that doesn't look right. Like,
well, yeah. If I said, Tim, you need to go out and buy 70 Dave Stewart Topps cards because we're going to have him sign 70. Why would you go get 1986 Phillies?
They're going to all be Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, at least he won a World Series with that damn team. I mean, why would you go out and find any random player? We can name any player that played just briefly for a team and said, hey, this is, I don't know, man. This is why this is such a shit show when it comes down to it. The checklist is strong.
But then
you put, it really is.
Ass. And then we also had, there we go, there's Xavi, he's a Yank. I think everybody plays for the Yankees at one point in time, by the way. I think it's like law that if you were an all-star at some point in your career, that you get to cruise through and be a Yankee, like, Todd Frazier. Nice washed up. Let's go. There was also 2020 Panini Absolute Baseball and 2020 Panini Chronicles Collegiate Draft Picks Football. A couple of mouthfuls last week. Hot off the press is this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 1, 2, 3. Not a great week. Card 329, Josh Donaldson, third baseman of the Minnesota Twins. And card 330, Isan Diaz, rookie shortstop of the Miami Marlins. Ho-hum.
Yeah, this is another example of how this program works, because Donaldson, he signed the long-term contract extension that he hasn't played yet. But it's like, A's or Blue Jays, right? We won an MVP with the Blue Jays. But you're going to get him as a Twin because why not?
Well, I mean, he signed for 4 years. Probably was going to happen at some point. Capitalize on right when the contract is fresh.
Yeah, it's two teams that, no one collects. So probably won't see a great week. But
says the Royal fan?
Hey, there's a lot of George Brett fans out there.
I know 2. And that's it.
Okay, well, then you're not on Twitter much. You should see all the hate that I get when I get George Brett cards in. It's awesome. No, it's going to be an okay week. I mean, Donaldson and Diaz will probably do, break 2,000 apiece. At least the Donaldson, they got a little gold in that. They got that, I don't know, some kind of special patch. It looks like they're wearing this year. What's up?
Casota Gold, the color.
Okay. But why are they wearing a patch, do you know? You know what the patch is this year?
No, I don't.
They celebrating Calvin Griffin.
Unlikely.
Good.
Nick, what are your thoughts, Nick, on Topps Living as a whole?
I like the throwback to that older design, but you know, what you're saying about the choice of the you know, the players, you know, their uniforms and things like that, right? Like, you know, what's really going to attract folks. I still think sometimes it gets lost, as you can see by the, you know, by the numbers as compared to maybe some of their other on-demand releases. Is that a rookie card for Isan Diaz?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's like an older rookie. Like, I watched him last year. He debuted against the Mets and I think hit a home run in his first game or second game, you know, here in New York. So I you know, I don't know how much he's going to bring in. He's gotten bounced around already. You know, he was with the Diamondbacks and, you know, they traded him over. I think for
Miami.
What's that?
Arizona, Milwaukee, Miami.
Yeah. So he's already been traded a few times. So, you know, I don't know, good power, but might not be, I think, a good long-term prospect. But I think, again, those cards, they fill a niche, maybe for like player collectors or team collectors. I think they're a cool look. And, you know, you can't really go wrong with the design per se.
No, at 53 is one of the better looking designs Topps has ever put out. I mean, really, between 53, 55, 56, and even 57 for the photography, they had a pretty good run.
Yeah. No, it's a good, it harkens back to a fun set. And, you know, I've been putting all the rookies together, so I have them all from Hoskins all the way through, and I pick up the Royals and the Giants as they come along. And, you know, so it's one of those, like, I'll pick it up, but I think it's really going to benefit collectors that have been collecting the last year, because I think long-term the value is going to, people are going to look back and go, wow, that's a really cool set. I wish I would have hopped in, and we had that really big spike, you know, in 2018, and it's really died off since, you know, card, what we talked about, like that card, like 200, actually card 100, you know, and so it's really fallen back. So only time will tell, but it's, when you look at it together, it's beautiful, no matter who the player is. You know, and we talk all kinds of smack about who the players are. We, you know, every week we talk about it. We haven't stopped because it's still interests us, and I think that's the cool thing about it.
There were three players: Bartolo Colon, Dustin Fowler, and I think there was one more that was not a picture of the neck up, right? I believe there were three total now. And those are going to stick out like a sore thumb. I have no idea why they chose to do those so far away. If you're flipping it, let's say you put it in a binder and you're flipping through, they're going to be the one that doesn't go with the rest. And I really wish that they had chosen different photos for those players.
Do you think this is a set that would look good graded?
Yeah, I was at the National. I saw somebody that had a pretty good start on one, and they were collecting as a PSA 10 set, because that's how I was able to get my Joe Panic, because I didn't buy the first week, and he sold me a 9, and it does look pretty cool. I like it. I have mine in a binder, and I like to flip through, and it's really cool because you can see the rookie, you know, as rookies, and you kind of go through and you can start to see the classes of rookies, because, you know, the season, you know, is so long, the year that they're doing it in, and you get to see everybody, and it's like, wow, how awesome that 18 class was, and how truly deep it was. And you're going through some of those, and you're like, oh, I forgot he was with these guys, and because you think of Acuna and Ohtani right off the bat, but you got to think that Hoskins was also included in that very early on, and it's just like phenomenal. We were so blessed. And 18 and 19 was those two rookie classes. I think looking back, it's going to be like, man, those were some days, like, that's, you know, memorable, because I don't think we're going to have that very often. We have back-to-back classes like that.
Yeah, 18 and 19 were really strong classes.
To your point, Nick, it's going to be tough to grade this well, because, you know, I know that our friend Twins Jake was experiencing a lot of chipping along the black across the bottom of the cards, and he had a bunch that went back. That's part of the reason why he ended up getting out of it at card number 100, was the quality control was so poor, and he didn't want to send you a card that wouldn't theoretically grade well, even if that's not why you were purchasing it. He wanted that card to be as close to mint as possible, and due to his own quality control, it just became a mess. So if you're buying it with the intent to grade and doing so on your own, I could see there being a lot of challenges in getting, you know, a 9+ on some of this.
Do you think that bodes well for the long-term value of some of these rookies, because they're going to, you know, be minted in such lesser quantity than, let's say, like their flagship or update rookie?
Could be.
Possibly. I would say everybody that's been after card 100. Acuna had the most printed, and it was almost 47,000 cards. So it was, quite a few. And I know Tatis was up there, and Guerrero was up there. But it's that next few guys. Even Keston, I think, wasn't that well sold. So that could help him if he takes, he really becomes the player everybody thinks. So
look at Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy's a perfect example this week, right? He gets barely over 2,100. So how many of those are actually going to get graded, right? Even if 10% get graded, you're going to have now 200 of them. How many of them are going to go, Gem 10? Let's say 25% of them. Now you only have 50 cards total that are graded at a 10. And then how many of those are going into private collections versus, let's assume that you're collecting it for your own personal want. How many of those end up on the secondary market? You talk about another 25%, right? You're looking at 12 to 18 of these. It's tough to say, but Tim's right. The smaller these print runs have gotten over the last year, the less that are going to get graded, that are going to grade well, that are going to hit the open market. So yeah, the sustainability. If some of this stuff hits the market 5 years from now, if you end up with a guy that ends up becoming not a Mike Trout, but say like on an Aaron Judge's level, that next tier down. Some of this could really, really do well.
Yeah, no, it's just gonna be a really long term process, I think, and it's for the collector. I think it's not for the ripper flipper anymore, which is nice. So
Speaking
also about this week, 2019. What's up, Steph?
Speaking to the grades here, I pulled up the PSA report. Is that this one or is that this one? That's this one.
Steph has about 14 screens going along with every binder and some stubs on his desk. So
I do still have the stubs on my desk, but that's another story. No, 2018, 40,000 tens, 61,000 total graded. 2019, 12,000, 18,000, and 262, 375 already came back. So it looks like they're improving the process, or at least for 2019 they did.
Yeah, interesting. There's a fun inside thing. If we get to it tonight, I might share the stub story, which is just, piss your pants funny. 2019-2020 Panini Obsidian basketball drops today. $5.50 a box. 1 pack per box, 7 cards per pack, 2 autos, 2 inserts, and/or parallels. It's a 241 card base set. The second year for the product. Last year was an online exclusive. It's a black chrome stock card. The rookie jersey autos are basically headlining the hits. They have an electric etch parallel that comes in many colors and numbers. The colors are purple, orange, green, yellow, white, and red, and mojo white. There was also a first off the line release too, and those boxes range from about $700 to $800. It's a sharp looking set. Before Obsidian was like, I think it was part of Chronicles, and then they brought it out as an online exclusive last year, and it kind of took off. And this year, it's finally got its own release. And they are some sharp looking cards because having a lot of black with chrome, because normally with black, card stock it chips, but with the chrome you don't get chipping, you just get bowing. So that's pretty awesome. And again, they're going to have lots of vet autographs. And Zion and Ja are going to dominate this as well. So quite a bit of it is numbered. Oh, and the Cam Reddish is a wonderful, wonderful auto.
Buyback auto if anyone wants it.
Get you a good deal.
Is it numbered 57 out of 99? I'll take it.
It's podcast used.
Perfect. I want it.
Yeah. And then also this week we have 2020 Panini Luminance football dropped today, $250 a box. That's a heck of a deal. Look at that. 4 packs per box, 10 cards per pack. You're going to have 3 autographs, 1 mem card, 4 inserts, 5 parallels, and 12 rookie cards. It's a 200-card base set with 100 vets and then 100 Luminance rookies in their collegiate uniforms. It's the first card they have of Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform. Really? I don't like Tom Brady, but I want that card for some disgusting reason.
It needs the creamsicle.
Is that like a $30 base card instantly?
It might be.
Right? like that's like the Andrew McCutcheon, which is a regular short print where he's got the Nick, you had the shirt, the
Uncle Larry shirt. Yeah, man. Big ups to the people at Breaking Tea for sending that over. What a cool idea. But the prices went,
But still, it's like around. I saw it going for about $50 for a short print that's going to pop more frequently than a super short print. That's still a good deal, and so that's just very interesting, cool cards we have coming out this year. And so the only unfortunate thing is the photography. Well, the photography in the set is action shots on full bleed cards, which is awesome. The rookie Luminance autographs have the same design as the main set, but all with sticker autos. So that's kind of a downer. They do have the jersey swap, and Steph showed that insert set, which I think is a fun thing that football players do a lot. And I think that'd be a cool insert where you see a player straight jerseys. It shows, hey, we're a fan of each other. We respect each other. I think that's super cool. And I love the design. I've been a big fan of the Luminance. It reminds me of Topps Inception and also the Panini. It just fell out of my head, but Panini's version of it as well. They have a very similar, but the nameplate it doesn't take up a lot. It's a good looking card. They did a good job with this one, and it's still $250. That's a little high, but not bad in this current market, which is crazy. So
I want to say like 98, 99 Fleer Ultra had this similar type etching for the name.
Good call.
That's why I like it, because I really like those sets.
Yeah, it doesn't take, like you said, Tim, it doesn't take away from the player. You get this full Stadium Club-esque type photo of your favorite player, whether they're in a collegiate uniform or they're pro. The names across the bottom. It's a good font to where you can read it. I think it's a sharp looking card. Especially for as you like to say, football's not collectible. It'd be a fun set to probably put together if you are a football collector.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's sharp. It's one, but it's you're getting 10 cards. You're getting 40 cards for $250, and what is that, like 10 of them? So you're getting 30 base cards in a box to build a 200 card base set. That's gonna take some effort and some time and a lot of secondary market work. So
do people go after those sets? I mean, like, you mentioned something like Inception, which like every year when I open it and I'm like, who's going to go after this set? With like whatever 5 or 6 cards you get out of it, Do you see people going after the set? It's not easy to put together.
No, you'd have to find somebody that's busting a lot of it, a couple of cases that just want to get rid of the base. It's not worth their time to list. One of our friends here in the Sacramento area got lucky. I think it was last year, year before, somebody busted a bunch of museum collection and just threw all the base on his lap. And he was able to put together multiple sets. And 2
base sets in museum, which is never heard of.
I mean, that's unheard of because, again, the pack odds just don't allow. He happened to be in the right place at the right time where somebody literally was busting so much of this stuff and put zero value, zero worth on listing and just said, here you go, Eric. You can have this. Good for him. You kind of almost have to look for that. Buy a starter set of, get you halfway
I think
home.
most people are probably doing the farthest most people go would probably be a team set. So, or even maybe the rookie class at a certain position. But yeah, a full set would be, I think, a really tough task, just because the people who are opening that aren't going to list those cards, and they're just it's not. And really, their wheelhouse, like that's not the way they collect, So I feel like the people who are opening that, they're taking out the big stuff, and then everything else just kind of gets wherever. So putting a dime box or something somewhere. So
you can reach out to a breaker that doesn't ship base and say, "Hey, look, what would you charge me just to take all of that base off of your hands?"
Yeah.
I bet if I'm buying the Raiders in a team break, right, and I'm only getting the hits and I don't get any of that base. What do I care on the back end? I went in knowing I'm not getting any of that base. So if you go in and swoop in and buy it all from the breaker, more power to you.
Well, that's before it disappeared. I was actually kind of curious whether you would see a breaker, not necessarily for this product, but for any product, do here's the 32 teams and here's an extra spot for the base.
Yeah.
Whether that would sell out for a set like this.
I know somebody you can ask.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe Saturday.
By the way, Panini Origins, Topps Inception, like the same thing. Just with, different names on it. That's what I was thinking of. It was driving me crazy. 1920 Upper Deck Stature Hockey comes out today. $110 a box. 1 pack per box, 8 cards per pack. 1 auto, 1 insert, 2 parallels, a base rookie. 2 base vets or legends, 1 additional auto, rookie, parallel, or insert. 200 card base set with 75 vets, 25 retired greats, and 100 rookies, all numbered to 300. It's a debut of this release. It is a rainbow foil stock of card. The rookie Reliance autographs are the most common, falling 1 in every 6 boxes. And then they have the Century Momentous, or 1 in every 50, and Esteemed, or 1 in every 60. So if you pull one of those, you're doing something pretty good. I like the base cards. I like foil stock, and I think they did well. If you check out old Willie Wee, that's a cool looking card.
It's nice to see him included. When you would think of legends in years past, it'd be easy to skip over him, but for his contributions to the sport, it's an amazing card.
So that I thought it's a first year. So we'll have to take a look and see if they bring it back and what comes back. But yeah, if you pull one of those higher end autos, those extra autos, then it's crazy. Hey, and I want to give it up. Right, if you go back up a little bit, Steph, the Excel file. You notice that on Beckett, they're including a link to the Excel file. So for those guys that really like checklists, you have that right there to download. I think it's awesome. So shout out to Ryan and the folks over at Beckett for including that. Make sure you check out all of his articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on all of these releases. He does a great job. So we always appreciate borrowing his information to provide to you.
I hope they bring that back next year with the Wild signing their top unsigned prospect this week. I'd love to pull.
They got him? How happy are you?
I am looking forward to Upper Deck Series 2 next year.
There we go. Outstanding. What's brewing next week's release is 2020 Topps Sterling Baseball, 2020 Panini Donruss Optic Baseball, 1920 Upper Deck Premier Hockey, and 2020 Upper Deck Goodwin Champions. A very similar fun thing, similar to like Allen and Ginter, but with all the sports that they have and different people, and very last year, 18-19 when Luka was a rookie. Mm-hmm. They had a Luka autographs in there, and no one really knew that. And those boxes were going for like $50, $60, and you had chances of Luka autos. So
this year,
we'll see.
A preview for next year, but they have those patch cards wherein they have like an animal or a just random weird designs like you'd expect out of something like this between it or Allen Ginter, but they have cat cards that Angela's ready to chase.
And remember their exclusive signers: Tiger Woods, LeBron James, some guy named Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
So, I know they always drop, and it's not very many of those, but they do drop those guys in there, and they always could be a fun. So we'll take a look at that next week.
With the
Infield chatter,
Godwin,
yeah.
with the Godwin, were those set up for the Olympics? Because like the Olympics were supposed to have gone off this year. I'm curious to see if there was like Olympians, in that set, being that it was timed right around when the Olympics.
Interesting.
It's possible.
I'll do some quick research.
It's possible. So that's it's just always a fun, if you're one of those people like different and you want to like a little bit of everything, very eclectic, it is fun to hop in.
Does look like there's a couple of beach volleyball, a couple pole vaulters, a couple surfings, a couple field hockey. So yeah, maybe.
Nice. Field hockey. Infield chatter, the Hobby Talk section of our show. Hobby Hotline promo. Live this Saturday on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And then make sure you check out Monday Night Heat live every Monday on the same channels at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I think one of you guys is on this week on Saturday, right?
I'm pretty sure that I'm on Saturday.
I am not.
Come ask me questions about organization.
I have a birthday.
You and organize?
Organized disorganization.
Yeah, I mean, on Card Chat, he talked about organizing and how much he wants to do it. So, good luck there, Steph.
Oh, how much he wants to do it. This is organized. Yeah. So, hey, we're going to hit some great accomplishments. This first started off as one post, but there were 3 amazing come across this week on. There we go. I'm back, I think. Thank you, Comcast.
Testing.
I'm here, right?
Make a face, and we'll know whether or not you're back.
Hold on. You good?
I think we're good. And screenshot.
And now we have dead silence.
Am I back?
You are. Yeah, unfortunately.
I love Comcast.
Now he's frozen. So what do you boys want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking, why don't we get a quick mini interview out of the way? What for Nick, obviously, not for you, Ben, because we know far too much about you. What of all the people that you've interviewed, who was the most interesting to talk to?
So,
story-wise or just in general?
I really enjoyed talking to Sophia Chang, who's one of the Project 2020 artists. We linked very early on in the process, and Sophia's from my neck of the woods here in Queens, and she's the only woman of all the artists, so I thought that was a bonus. So we really got to talk about growing up here in Queens and finding out more about her art and the work that she did in with sneakers and designing custom sneakers. And I just thought that was an interesting window into, what she does. And, while she admittedly said, baseball wasn't her first, love, that, she's learned a lot about the sport. And what was interesting, right, when she put out the Rivera card first, the glove was on the wrong hand, and she luckily was able to change it before it went to printing. And we've talked back and forth during the process just about some other hobby related stuff. So it's been really interesting making that connection with her and seeing her stuff take off and grow, and then open up other opportunities. And she's hitting me up what's going on with the cards, and this is crazy. And right when the prices really skyrocketed, especially for that card in question. We had some talks about how to play it out, and now if you go to her site, right, you'll see that, just like all the other artists, she's doing her own, signed versions of cards and got her own stickers and things like that. So I thought that was really interesting because it opened my eyes up to a world that I was really not familiar with, and, connecting with somebody who's not really quote unquote standard in the hobby. I thought it gave me some different perspective, and it's always cool to see another, Queens resident making moves. So, I was real happy to get that done.
And what
I had wished that they hadn't changed the wrong hand on the Rivera. There was some chucklehead on YouTube that said he got scammed by Topps because it's on the wrong hand, and he goes on this big rant. And it's just at this point, we don't know what Project 2020 was, right? It was still new. We knew it was a reimagination, but it was still very premature in its release and the program, and we were still kind of getting an understanding. And now, speed up, we're more or less halfway through, and we've seen all kinds of wild stuff coming out, and from the minds of 20 different individual artists that may or may not. This is not necessarily their first forte into. You got jewelers and all different kinds of individuals. I liked it. I thought was cool. Why can't you flip this? I tried to tell this guy in his YouTube video, I was like, dude, if she wants to put octopus arms on Rivera and he can have 8 arms, well, who's to say you're wrong? You're not wrong. I mean, I was very critical over Gregory Siff's McGuire in front of the hamburger this week, but you know what? It's just me. I'm one person and I don't like it. It doesn't mean it's not going to be well received by the majority of people that are buying into this program. I thought it would be cool if they would have left it.
Imagine this is her first for collectors, right? And everyone's like, right away, she's like, the internet will let you know right away. And, you know, she got that blowback and then like change it. But people were making kind of ridiculous comments. You know, she was able to shake it off and, you know, move forward. And it's been, I visited Blake Jameson in Long Island City here, and I hope I get to see him before the end of the month, get an interview worked out with him. And that should be fun. He seems like a really good dude. And, I won like a contest, so I stopped there to like pick up a card, but then like our schedules didn't link up to see each other because he was in like a few, you know, meetings. So I'm anticipating that being well. But to see a lot of the artists, you know, take advantage of the situation, I don't mean that in any sort of way, right? When these prices were jumping off, they weren't getting any coin out of it, and so that's why, you know, you saw a lot of the artists early, right, make their own versions, and you know, they have a fan base that has nothing to do with baseball cards.
Right.
And so the people who follow them are picking this stuff up and are like, oh, cool, because maybe they're not following, you know, the releases that are coming from Topps because they're not in this like little world.
We all think that the collecting thing is big giant bubble, and it's not. It's very small.
No. And this is opening that up, talking to these artists. So hopefully I get around to speaking, you know, to more of them to get their experiences. Just like
this is the Blake's. Yeah, he broke the story about this one on our show before it released. He gave us a little insight that he was going to merge 87 and 85 together, which was awesome. And it ends up getting this cover. It's a great. We had the most chill interaction with him. And every time I see him with folks, like, he's awesome. Like, he sent me some videos just going back and forth about what the show was going to be like that night and all this stuff. And he just it was breathtaking to talk to somebody that was getting a lot of pub and getting his name was moving up and just to be a normal person. So that was super cool. So have fun when you hang out with him, because I think that'd be quite awesome. He's doing all these awesome videos talking about, you know, he's busting stuff. He's then taking cards and splattering paint and handing them out to people, and people are like dying to get one in their collection, and I think it's awesome. It's just having fun with cards.
Right.
Yeah. He's a great asset to the hobby. And going back to the point about Sophia Chang, and this might be her first foray into our world. And you know, Ben Baller was very vocal with some of us collectors when we were vocal and critical over the one touches being different and not uniformed. And you know, you have people that are outside our hobby coming into our hobby, and it took us a while to really understand the program and realize that we are probably not that target audience, at least not the first line, even though this is our hobby and our world and our passion. These are really transcend the hobby, and it's the artist. You know, I think Blake on our show had made that comment. You know, a lot of my pieces are X dollars, and they might be beyond a socioeconomic means of the average fan of his. So to be able to grab a piece of his for $20 or all 20 of them for $400, it is nice for people that are fans of Blake's but not card collectors. They now can have a piece of his artwork in their home, or, you know, 20 pieces. And now we're a lot smarter about what this program is, and you know, a lot of these artists have been nothing but gracious with their time within the hobby, which is neat.
Very, very, very much so. And, you know, Topps did not do the best job rolling this out. It wasn't clear to collectors what this was, you know, who the artists were that were involved. And, you know, I got some stuff somewhat early in the process, but not like at the beginning. People were like, oh, what is this stuff? And it caught a lot of people, you know, off guard. And I wish they would have done better with the narrative, because I think it would have set it a lot easier from the front to people like know what they were getting into and who the artists were, and, you know, that this was going to be all season. Eventually I got that, you know, out of speaking to the people at Topps, but the, you know, early rollout was tough, which is why you saw print runs of like 1,000 to start, because people did not know what they were or who the artists were. And, you know, now we do, and you can see the following has changed.
Yeah, I think Topps try to be too secret about it, and they tried not to mess it up. And by doing that, they did, because they just said 20, we picked 20 iconic cards. Here's 20 artists. We all thought one artist was getting one card. We didn't know all 20 were doing all 20.
Yeah.
It was going to be 400 cards. And then we found that out, and we were really critical. We're like, you know how expensive this is? over the year. If you just collect one person, it will, let alone try to build all the set. It's like, and then we kind of started seeing really what it was. And so, it's still like we're not even halfway through, and it's still a long way for us to see what this is at the end of the day. I've enjoyed them. I've been picking up the Bretts, and I've enjoyed them. It's just that with the pandemic and the shipping, and there's tons of issues. We're going to talk about that here a little bit later. I feel like every week we have more and more issues just around Project 2020. And they're not big ones. Some of them are, and others are just like, hairs and stuff. How did you put the card in upside down? How did you leave the, one-touch advertisement paper in there? All this stuff. It's like these little things that anybody could fix, and they're it's crazy. So we're gonna get to that. Okay.
No, I have a little insight, but I can share it, later. I also like how they're connecting with the players that are around to sign cards, and I kind of picked that up early on, where I was like, hey, if you want to make a play in these cards or have something that's really rare, like try to get them signed. Like Bob Gibbs did a private signing, and who knows how many more he has left, because if folks don't know, right, he's suffering from cancer. But I could not get my hands on a Bob Gibson at that time because it was early in the process to send out. But I was like, you really want something rare, get players to sign. Now you've seen like Doc Gooden's gotten on board, and I think you're going to see people get the other players who are alive to start signing these cards.
Yeah. We want to get in some really great collecting accomplishments. We saw it before my internet went fun and kicked me off a couple times. 3 really great accomplishments that came across our desk this week. So this is 90% of 1953 tops. This is at G Bennett Post. George Bennett, he's 90% of the 1953 set. And he's got most of the big boys. You see Jackie and Mickey and Warren Spahn and Roy Campanella, Phil Rizzuto, Ralph Kiner, Satchel Paige, and Eddie Matthews. And they're all in, for being 1953, and those big guys, they're all in some nice condition. They're not graded. This is we talked about this. I mean, this is the Topps Living set, and how beautiful it looks. And these are the original cards, and there's some Hall of Fame players there, and that's just really awesome to see.
Yeah, he's missing Willie. So that it'd be interesting to see the checklist of the 10 that he's missing, to see how expensive that really might be. And but what an awesome, I mean, that's something that I think any collector out there listening, that had seen this, just your mouth drops and goes, wow, what an accomplishment just to get that far, let alone that last leg that I'm sure he'll get soon.
It's interesting. One you picked up on Willie, but there's also Hal Newhouser and Johnny Padres. And personally, he's also missing card number 262, which is the Senator, the last that I need for that 53 set. Team set.
So you're going to be battling George here.
Maybe. Yeah.
Another great one was 2018 Allen and Ginter at Kev Wyrock. One of the greatest he tweeted out one of the greatest achievements as a collector, a complete 2008 Allen and Ginter base set signed by every living personality and player. He also has a complete 2010 set like this, where he has all the base cards autographed. We're talking, look, you saw Griffey, Mariano, Jeets, Pujols, Ichiro, on-card Cabrera. I mean, that's awesome. Serena Williams.
Do we know how he got those? I mean, were they through the mail? Were they in person?
I just tweeted him, and he said it should be in there in that thread somewhere. I think he said about 20% were in person. No, in the mail. He said what? I think another 30 were in person. Then he had to pay for the rest, whether it was like consignment or private signings. Because I asked, I've been in that world a little bit. Like,
sure,
you have to have a good network of people across the country that right, that are out there actively getting autographs to put something like this together, because the players just move too much.
The sheer amount of subjects,
and also the actors.
Reminds me of that Panini or that basketball set. Remember a couple months ago we had that one that had the was it the Detlef Schrempf, or not Detlef? the guy's name, the basketball player that passed away in a car accident back in the 90s.
Oh, Drazen Petrovic.
Petrovic.
Oh man.
Yeah. That was such an impressive set as well. This really reminded me of more of a modern day version.
Skybox.
Yeah, 91-92 Skybox had a complete autograph set, the Skybox. Yeah, so no, that's awesome. I mean, that's just impressive, right?
And
I wonder who signed the one for the art.
Maybe the architect.
Maybe.
Mayor of St. Louis.
That's just cool. And they have 2 years of that.
Well, yeah, there was the guy that was putting together all the Carlton Fist ticket stubs.
Yeah.
We get those questions all the time. How do you collect and how do you break this down and break that down and so on and so forth? And just to sit there at home one night and you're just flicking through the Netflix and go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a 2010 or 2008 Allen Ginter autograph set. And I'm going to do it regardless of how I have to. I'll meet people in person because I got season tickets so I can get most of the current players. I mean, just, man, it's overwhelming to think about starting that collection and why that popped into your head. But it's damn impressive to see it on the back end. That somebody was able to accomplish.
A lot of these guys do not like to pick up a pen. They commented on Greinke and Verlander who are really tough and good luck trying to get Griffey without paying for it. Like a lot of these guys don't like to sign, and so to be able to put that together is even more impressive. Although I think he commented something that like Verlander and Greinke were like a little easier, 12 years ago.
Well, Greinke didn't even want to sign. Who was it for? Brad Ziegler or Pat Neshek?
Ziegler.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're teammates. And he's like, nah. Okay. The last one, that's a lot of letters, at Red Bull _cards on Twitter. And today I will enjoy a nice drink as I found the A after 5 months of searching. 5 months isn't that long. Thank you to all who helped. Sue happy with this. This is an Eric Brandstrom, who's a defenseman with the Senators. Draft day letter. It's
draft
his
day
name, all the
from Upper Deck.
Yeah, it's all the letters from a jersey, which is pretty awesome.
He said his next team is to get the team logo.
That says he plays for the Las Vegas Knights. Maybe I don't have the right Golden Knights. Maybe I don't have the right Brandston, but anyway, that's his last name. So I tried to do a little hockey research. But no, that's cool. But 5 months to get that's not too terrible.
No, it's impressive. I mean, this kind of stuff is really, really cool. I thought about trying to put together like Bentley and Jonathan's first names with Letterman cards. And, I'd be like, is it just going to be baseball or do I just not care? Just give me a B and an E and an N. And I was like, you know what? Just to me, it was like, you know what? That just, I might appreciate it a lot more than they would. And if they're not going to appreciate it and they're just too young right now, it's like, nah, I'm good. Save it for another day.
Yeah. No, but I thought those were some pretty cool accomplishments to see pop up. Just all the last couple of days too. Mm-hmm. We maybe once in a while we get a story like this where someone has something crazy they've put together, and 3 things that just kind of boggle my mind. Because that guy's last name was not Smith. I mean, what's there like 13 letters in that name? 10, 11. I can't count. There's like 11 names in there. Like 11 letters. Like that's crazy.
Speaking of which, I finished Topps 2020 Donruss this week.
No, you didn't. I did not finish 2020 Donruss because you're missing the 2 short prints, so it doesn't count.
I can show you.
Get out of here with your lies.
Doesn't matter. He sends us this message, Nick, and he's like, finish this, except for the 2 short prints. Then you didn't finish.
What's that?
No.
By the way, that card, that stupid San Diego Chicken card, I don't even collect Donruss and that building the set. That was the toughest dang card I've ever tried to buy.
There are 4 up for bid right now.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. And then when I did, I was a buy it now, and I way overpaid for it. But it was like I was looking for the card for like 3 weeks. And I was like,
What'd you
fine,
pay
I'm just
for
gonna. I don't even remember now, but it was like $15.
Oh, come on.
So, but for that, like, yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah. When
sports,
it's outside your PC, yeah, it's a little harder to pull a trigger on a more expensive
it
card.
was like I was the one I needed. It was a kind of a cool
Yeah.
card. So it's one of those things, and I have it, so I don't have to worry about it. It's gonna be like that the Santa Claus card from 1990 Pro Set, or the Mr. Super Pro Set Man. Those short print cards were like $30 or $40 or $50, and now they're like $1.
Or how
And you can
about
find
2007 top with the Bush and Mantle and Jeter?
Could be like the 1990 tops, George Bush. Could go in the opposite direction. You never know.
It allegedly exists in personal collections.
Well, he handed those out, I thought, right? He had to meet the president to get one.
Yep.
So Rich Mueller over at Sports Collectors Daily had two cool stories about Topps and Panini. So Topps is on top. Topps paid the MLB Players Association $18.7 million in licensing fees in 2019. That, according to the union's annual report with the U.S. Labor Department. The figures represent $5.6 million increase from 18 and more than a $7 million increase from 17. And 17 and 18 were really good collecting years. But holy smokes, 19. Woo, boy. Pretty crazy.
Honestly,
and according to... Go ahead.
I thought that would be low, honestly. Just looking at it from an economic and what your return against that would be. To me, those honestly seem low.
Well, it depends on what their deal is. And
I
according
think
to
for 2019, isn't this the year that they re-announced the contract got renewed?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some of that.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, I think I reported on that last year. So a lot of people don't know it's a vast contract that they have. I think this goes to 2025, 26, something like that.
Yeah,
it's a while. Yeah, and then according to the report, Panini America played the union over $2.8 million in 2019 as the company continues to print the players' cards for products. So Panini's going to go back to college. They announced they would continue to make college-focused trading cards for the foreseeable future after reaching a contract extension with the Collegiate licensing company CLC. Panini called it a long-term arrangement. Panini has worked with CLC since 2015, and they cover 400 colleges and universities across the country. So plenty more draft picks, collegiate, and all the collegiate national treasures and flawless and optic and whatever else prism we see will be out. So if you like Ohio State and LSU, nobody likes Texas, USC, you'll see all those guys out there. So that's pretty crazy.
Tacking one on that I thought you'd added. You guys got to check this out. Signed by Yastrzemski's son, then his grandson, and then he caught Carl at an autograph signing.
Well, that's cool because his son's passed away. His son died quite a few years ago.
Got his he bought the card with his son, then he got the grandson to sign it, and then he caught Carl as well.
That's pretty awesome.
Not easy because a lot of modern players will not sign index cards.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that it's his dad signed it and he's not here, and maybe that's kind of leaned on it. And I think that I like Mike being on the Giants. I think that little story and what he's done for them has been great. So he kind of took a long road to get to the majors, but it's good to see him come up and play well. So God, we all know the Giants.
His major league debut, so they debuted in Boston.
Yeah,
that would have been just perfect, but.
No, it's great. God, baseball hopefully is coming back. I'm not holding my breath, but it's getting so close. It's like when your grandma's making some food in the kitchen, but it takes all day, and you can start to smell all the flavors coming together. Right? She's got her Sunday sauce on, and you're like, man, we're gonna have a good time soon. And then I just hope it doesn't get taken away. So we will see. So Topps, I want you to meet Mike Trout. I don't know, Topps, if you know who Mike Trout is. But our buddy Mike in Vegas, MK9577, when Topps doesn't know who Mike Trout is, tweeted this out. They posted a video, and they got later taken down of Mike Trout finding out, seeing his Samuel baseball card for the first time, and well, it's a picture of someone in a Cardinals uniform, and it's obviously not Mike Trout.
So either they picked the wrong video file or put it in the wrong name.
Yeah. So I was like, God, Trout was a Cardinal? Man, must have made a really bad trade. I just thought I always find things like that funny, So
Or a really great trade.
QC is very hard. We have a few issues here. So at Card Insights tweets out, "Hey, I watched the breaks. I finally received my Panini America Retro Rated Rookie basketball card set in the mail today, and the Zion Williamson arrived with a smash corner." Nice little ding there. One, this was not the only collector that posted that these cards were shipped and damaged in shipping. They were sent in, one of those, like, it looks like a 10 card plastic holder.
The snap
cases, but with no filler in there, like, even a little piece of foam to keep the cards from shifting around. So be interesting to see if anybody gets one that's not damaged, and then what happens with it, grading, because God, you graded all your basketball cards, right, and sell them. So I just thought it was a little disappointing. And here's another one, and this is from at my man Rob1, tweets out. It would look like an eBay sale, and I thought it was interesting. It's a Decade's Best from Series 2. It's a Pete Rose. Well, it's a 1980 Phillies card, Team of the Decade, and the listing says Pete Rose Air, condition is brand new, shipped. Pete Rose has been banned from Major League Baseball and is on its ineligible list for more than 20 years now, and that means one thing that he should be obvious to collectors. He hasn't had a single official licensed baseball card since. Rose is on this list for life, for gambling. I don't know how they missed it, because he's clearly there. You see the number, his name. I didn't think they could use him at all.
They can't, right, Nick? What do you know about this?
I am probably going to reach out to Topps. This might be like a quick article I do, because Rich Brummett hit me to this. I put a video on TikTok about it, and the only thing I could think of is that Rose's name is not on the card. You can't see the Phillies logo on his uniform, right? And so maybe that's a way around it by getting him in the card. Or was it, someone really like lower in the chain, not vetting it? I hope to get an answer from Topps, because it was done intentionally to bring interest. Fine. I don't think they would actually probably cop to that, but maybe that's why, because his face and the logo's not on it, that you can get away with that photo.
It's not an error, though. It's part of the checklist. It's just a basic insert card. So that's
it's a mistake,
manipulation.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Oh God, to the highest degree, man.
And the other thing, because you remember a few years ago where they said they had, like, on the stat lines, like on the back of the cards, they said, Bob Smith is 670 hits away from
all-time
hit list or whatever it was. They just never named the player.
Right.
And they did that with home runs, because they don't put, Barry Bonds doesn't have an agreement, so they don't put his name and stuff. And anyway, no, I just thought, I know it's not an error, but I thought it was very interesting topic to see Rose on a card where you clearly know it's him. It's not like he's in the background and he's fuzzy, and you kind of have to know. Clearly states that it's Pete Rose. So very interesting. Hey, if you're Pete Rose collector, you got a new card. It's out of the PC. Yeah. There you go. It's been a while. Or if
you're somebody if you're somebody like our friend Paul Lesko, who collects error cards and cards that are related to lawsuits and whatnot. I mean, it'd be a real fun card for him to have in his collection as well. Yeah. It's not an error card, though, and that's browser manipulation if you're putting that kind of stuff in eBay.
On Topps' part, but it's not an error card.
Yeah, that's loosely using the word. Yes, it's a mistake, but it's it's not a short
turnover,
print, it's not a super short print.
Right. Are people thinking that Topps is going to pull his card from future runs if the prices run up so much? I mean, I know Rose hasn't had a card in a long time outside of the Donruss stuff, but
I don't think so. I didn't look at the pricing on the card. If anybody sold any, it just came across that someone's trying to get 500 for it. At the most, maybe it's a couple bucks. It's not like I don't think it's going to break the world. Personally, I don't think a lot of people notice it. And to be honest, I've opened so much of the Topps flagship. I really, besides the fact that I've sold all of mine, which made me happy, I'm not. The insert set doesn't do a lot for me.
Yes,
it is what it is. It's like, Are you
gonna go outside your PC to grab this card just because Pete Rose is pictured from the side? I mean, I don't think there's going to be a whole bunch of people. I think it's just that FOMO crowd that I've got to go grab an Andrew McCutcheon short print and a Decade's Best Phillies because Pete Rose is pictured in. Like, come on. Spend your money how you like to spend your money. Don't grab it just because everybody else suggests you should.
Yeah. So clearly an issue. So our buddy Bayside Breakers hit us up to this. 2 Nico Horner 1953 re-imaged auto rookies numbered 57 out of 9 from 2020 Clearly Authentic have popped up. One was his and sold, and he ended today.
Today, I believe, yeah.
At 2:50 p.m. And it's it shows that where he's from. He's in California and sold for $69 and a penny. The second ended earlier this morning at 6:28 a.m. from Katy, Texas, for $61 and a penny. And they're both numbered 57 out of 99.
Yeah.
And one of the cards is owned by somebody we know who's actually going to be on an upcoming episode here about the cards, which is cool. But very interesting that now it's not different cards. It's the same card, the same number. And
somebody had alerted him to the fact that he had his card listed because his sold second and said this card sold yesterday. Same serial number, same card. And that was my first thought too, was, well, is it a different image? Because Clearly Authentic, archive signature, they use different images. Is it a different parallel version? But then if it's serial numbered out of 99, it wouldn't be like a green version or a black version. But yeah, and then I looked at it and I'm like, well, that's interesting then. They're both 57 out of 99. And, unless somebody else can see something different, I don't see anything different between the two cards. You have to account for the fact that it is an acetate card. So the pictures are different. But he asked me straight out, he's like, should I pull my listing? Like, well, no, you have the card. It's pack pulled. It's stamped from Topps. I mean, whose fault is this? Is this Topps? Is this Card Mundi's?
Ultimately, it's Topps, you would think. They have to improve it. I mean, we get this correction all the time, occasionally, from someone that will say, hey, I looked up this card, and you have two that are listed at 12. One of them's wrong. And we pull up the much nicer images and look at them, and no, they're both numbered to 12. Sorry.
So is there no 56 out of 99, no 58 out of 99, or are there two 57 out of 99s? So then technically there are 100.
Good question.
What's
I don't know if people are paying enough attention. Yeah.
So some
at
more.
the end of the day, do we really care? It's a crappy product, but I feel for base.
Yeah, I'm pointing out just some QC things in here. More Project 2020 issues. I haven't watched the break. Said this would have worked in early May. A little too late to send it now. It's an email. I received this email. Dear Project 2020 customer, we are writing you to notify about a delay with your Project 2020 order. Due to a high purchase volume and challenges caused by COVID-19 to our supply chain, we're experiencing longer than anticipated shipping times. In the next 4 to 6 weeks, we expect that we will have all open orders shipped and in good position to ship out orders in an original 3 to 5 business day window. Moving forward, each Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, we will provide an update on which cards have shipped for the week on our Topps Twitter and Facebook handles. We apologize for any inconvenience that the delay may have caused you. Thank you for your continued support of Project 2020. Best regards, Topps. Now, yeah, they're like legit over a month late because like they did come out and say, hey, there is an extended timeline for once you buy these, but they're going even beyond what they promised on that extended timeline. And, I'm still waiting on, I think, card like like 68 or something from Brett. I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me, but like, actually maybe in the 90s, but it's like kind of far behind on a lot of this. So, I mean, thanks for the email, but.
So two things. One, it may have been an issue where they thought that it would have resolved itself by now, and they realized that what they thought they might have been able to float is now no longer even feasible. So put out an announcement saying, hey, our times are off. Here's our current projection. We will announce what goes out when. And more interestingly, in addition to this, the brand new Postmaster General announced that there's going to be extended shipping delays through USPS itself. So tack that on as well.
Yeah,
I want to get into that really quick.
There's a lot of I just talked to my postman about it. That's nutty. I mean, right? Isn't there there's a shortage on the holders, I think, too, right? Coming from China, which is one issue. And they're printing them down in Florida. And, look, once that Griffey card hit, 90-something thousand, I don't think they just the demand to print that card and pack it, right, was enough probably to overload them.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you run out of supplies for one, and then you've got to pivot and buy a similar supply, the one touch, and then what if you're working off a skeleton crew and you're going from 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 of these per day, or times two, right? So let's call it 10 grand to all of a sudden that one day you had Griffey hit 99, and I believe the other one that day hit 65. I mean, that could set you back a couple of days, and then it just becomes a ripple effect because that 2-week window was just nasty.
Yeah. So I want to get to the Postman thing. I didn't put this in the show notes, but I want to get to it. So I sold a few cards this last week, and one of them being a bat down Ronald Acuna. Mm-hmm. And, I insured the card and everything to over the value of what the seller purchased the card for. Took it into the post office and made sure I put it, into the package parcel pickup thing that they have. And he reaches out to me, and this was on Sunday night. I did that. He reaches out to me on Tuesday, and it's not been scanned. It didn't get scanned until this morning. And I started reading all the stuff about the Postal Service, and they're intentionally delaying service in orders to have people use the mail less because of some prepaid pensions and some other things going on in the internal postal service. I talked to my postman today, and he showed up to my house on Monday at 7:30, and tonight at 8. When we get live, I get a thing from my front door, and he was dropping off the mail. They've been intentionally told to delay mail service and change up their days and times of delivery to homes.
Yeah,
at least because he's working resident.
It's really incredible. They're cut down on overtime. My post guy was like, "Yeah, good luck with the holidays." Just in terms of I think money for the families. Right? They're not really being overtime, and that if the if the mail carriers can't get through their route, instead of doing overtime, they delay the mail till the next day. I've had in the last 2 weeks pickups not get taken from my house, including today. I came back and there were still 8 packages sitting in front of my house that didn't get picked up. And this is the second time in 2 weeks that they're not coming to pick up packages. So it's concerning. The media mail. If you guys do any media mail, forget about it. That stuff's not getting touched for 2 or 3 days, and the shipping time is a lot slower on it. And that's to prioritize the first class and priority stuff. But also what you said, that maybe they are purposely delaying other mail to continue to goof with the system.
They've been told from higher ups to deliberately slow down certain types of mail in certain areas, and and not work the overtime. And it's just not for my guy. I saw a bunch of different people talking about this, and has to do with some prepaid pension stuff, I think, and this new Postmaster General he's like the first person that's been appointed to the position that's never had any experience in the Postal Service. And
so is this politically motivated, or is this just I don't know how to run a business?
From what I can take, a little bit of it's politically motivated to make changes to the postal service and or turning it to a private entity?
I want to say 2006 Senate Congress voted to make these reforms that require the postal service to prepay pensions 75 years in advance, and that has decimated the post office. No other industry has their pensions 75 years ahead, but they did that, and that's really crippled them. In addition to first class mail, like letters and stuff, the volume of that has gone down tremendously. And then I think Amazon may not be renewing their contracts in certain areas, from what my postman told me. So that, Amazon, like USPS would deliver a lot of like Amazon type packages, but now in certain neighborhoods, Amazon is handling all of their packages, and that's going to cut down on volume as well.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting
to ask my dad's buddy who he goes to the military events with, because he works at the USPS as a delivery guy, no less. I'll have that for next week.
Yeah. And one last one.
Definitely going to be. Well, so we seen, we had Brent Williams on last week, and he talked about how cheap it was, 15, 20 years ago when he really started getting into this to ship cards. And I've been a big, I'm very critical on Twitter about, I see a $1 card that I really want, but I'm not paying $4.20. Mm-hmm. And even if that's the going rate. And, I'm also hypercritical when people charge more than that. And people are like, dude, come on, get off of it. And it's like, listen, though, if you're buying hundreds of packages per year, it's not just the difference between $4.20 and $4.50. And we're going to have to pivot as a hobby, because these cheap Panini Prism parallels that are literally $2-3 cards, we were talking about inserts earlier. These cards are going to have to be shipped PWE. They're just going to have to be, because you're not going to be able to ship these $1 cards for $5 time and time again, because this stuff's just going to sit. I've watched so many cards expire on my watch list in the last week, probably 2 dozen of them, because I'm not paying $5. And guess what? Nobody else is either.
I've had my best month in card sales this month alone, and I've sent out close to 500 cards, individual cards, and some packages had more, some had less, some were card. But 90% of my stuff went out PWE, and over the last year and a half of selling, very like focused selling, like actually setting up an eBay store and listing more cards than just a handful. Most of my sales have been PWE, and I've had 2 times where somebody came back with an issue with PWE, but I've had 7 times with a tracked bubble mailer.
Yep.
Yeah. And you'd think PWE is way, but and one was a postage issue, and that was my fault. And another one, so it just got lost. It was a $2 card, refund the money, and you move on, and you haven't, no big deal. The guy got the card, well, he got over on me for $2. What do I care? And so it's one of those things like we'll see what happens. The U.S. government.
It could get worse before it gets better.
Shep, can you quickly just give a little bit info of like how you pack your PWEs? If and how do you do it in like a quick way?
Yeah. So the best way that I do it is I'll every time I have a card, I just happen to have this one in front of me. I put it in a penny sleeve, and then I'll put it in a top loader, and then I take a piece of printer paper, and I usually use colored printer paper, so it's a little deceptive looking through a wide envelope, and I put the card in. I'll fold the paper this way,
hot dog style, sure.
And I put a card like that and like this, and I tape it up, all nice. And I put it in the envelope, and I use the smaller envelope,
Yep.
To mail it out, and I hand address it, and then I have my return sticker I put on there. And if it's over like 2 cards, I pick this up for $3 online. And I can weigh cards and see if they weigh an ounce or more. And then if they're over an ounce, I just went and bought a page of 15-cent stamps, and that covers an additional ounce. And I try not to go over really about 10 cards in a PWE. And I have my shipping set up that way, so the cost hits about $3. So then I drop it in a bubble mailer, and hey, I might lose, a quarter, but it's better than shoving all those cards in the PWE. So you just got to understand the cost and how to ship and how to price it online to make it worth your while to do so. And that's been the easiest thing. And and then I tape. What I do is I tape the back of the envelope all the way across, and then the two sides I put tape down, so it kind of forms a nice little H, a long H, and it just protects that from the adhesive coming off, because they're self-adhered envelopes that I buy. So, and it's not been bad. So, and I haven't had any complaints. I tested out with Cardboard Icons when I first started it and said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And
so the fact me or him,
when I sent him, it looks great. So it's, and I know that our buddy 1 Million Cups Bo on his page, he actually has a video that shows how he goes through and does it, and it's very similar type of way. So, but I appreciate you asking. So a lot of people are unconfident in PWE, and if you have questions, reach out. I'll help you all day long.
Your sales are going to go up exponentially.
Oh,
and like I said, it's no less than 12. It's probably closer to 24 cards that I personally would have bought if the shipping was a lot more affordable. Because again, hey, 24 cards, the difference between $1 and $4. Do the math, right? But again, these cards went unsold and relisted, and I imagine they're going to go unsold again unless you have somebody that's just looking to build a rainbow of a player or something like that. Because with 47 Prism Parallels per card, right? I mean, I bought a lot, and at $3, $4 a piece, it's already adding up. Let alone, when you get in that $5-6 range, it's got to be something pretty special, because there's just so much more to collect. And if you're not selling PWE, you're losing out on a huge consumer market.
And please reach out to me. I'll help you out. I mean, we'll talk it over. We'll hop on and we'll Skype or Zoom or whatever you want to do, and I'll walk you through everything. Shout out to Justin, who's actually a letter carrier listening and says that we're correct. And he says, thanks for being informed on our issues. Yeah, I mean, because this affects a lot of people, because if you're not selling, but you're buying, you're getting affected as well. And it's one of those things that I think is kind of gone under the rug and people aren't paying attention to. But to me, it's a business. It's they're promising one thing and you're getting something else. It's kind of ridiculous to me. But we'll keep an eye on it and see what's going on.
Tagging in here real quick, a great resource for something like that. We pull this up here. Dub Mentalities videos. You got to go all the way to the very beginning ones, but he has on how to mail via PWE, how to mail via bubble mailer, how to do 8x10s, and it's a pretty great resource.
Yeah, Dub's awesome.
It's like anything. If you're out there listening and you're not sure, always hit us up, because even if we don't know, whatever the subject is, we always know people that do, right? Nick's really smart in a lot of different ways, and we'll push people Nick's way. I think we mentioned him on the Hobby Hotline. I've been on quite a bit recently. I don't remember which episode, which topic specifically, but there's so many people out there that are smart in certain areas. And, again, it's who you know. And we can always find the right resource to reach out to, so.
Speaking of how to mail properly, I don't know if I showed you guys this. Do you see this?
Did you get the card I sent you, by the way, Steph?
I'm getting
a PWE. Okay.
Do you see what's wrong with this?
He taped a team bag. No,
they taped the team bag without peeling.
It literally comes with one. And
guys, they have stock in Scotch tape.
That's like opening up a can of corn that already has the little lip on it, like a soda can to open it. Now I'm good. I'll just get out the good old can opener.
So guys, points or no points? At up North Card 17 tweeted out, my dad bought himself his first box of cards in 28 years at Panini America at Panini CSM, and this is the hit he gets. Come on, you guys could do something for him possibly. Just needs to be abolished. Just need to abolish the points. My question is, if that was your one hit and you got 150 points, that's not fun. Would you rather have hits or a missing hit or points?
Points are
I'm
horrible.
not that hip
Why
on.
would anybody want that?
Yeah, I'm not that hip. What does that get you? 150 points, like.
I'll pull it up.
And the next card. You go on Panini's site. You can go on Panini's site and take your points and load them in and buy cards from Panini.
Yeah, but it's old redemptions. I think last time we looked it up, it was a bunch of like Kent Bazemore autographs or relics and stuff from like 5 years ago that were probably redemptions at the time that never got fulfilled. So it's just a bunch of crap.
And I think these get updated like once a week, once every other month, something like that.
Are they still juicing people for the shipping? I remember that.
Yeah, I believe so.
As an issue.
Yeah, you got it. You still have to pay like $8 to ship the card. That they promised you when you bought the box.
It's a big ass farce, and I know that Panini at one point had some really cool NBA cards that were kind of like a splash type thing, and I remember making a comment on it, and I think it was like Eric Bailey or somebody on Twitter's like, "Oh, I got all this cool stuff," and it's like, I'm sure if you have enough points, if you hit the website at certain times, you probably can do really well. But that's beside the point. The point is, if I open up a box of cards right now, I'm expecting what the pack odds are, and if it says, I'm getting a hit in there.
You guys understand what the points cards allow them to do, right? It allows them to make more base product.
Yeah, and spread it out.
When you open the box, it says, "Hey, you're going to be guaranteed, on average, you should get 2 autographs per box." Well, if they only put 1 autograph in and they put points in, they're saying that's your 2, right? So now they can put out more. If you guys remember, Collegiate playoff ticket Collegiate basketball that was at retail said you were going to get 2 autographs. You remember that sports card investor guy? He opened up a full case of it. And half of the case, half of the blasters had points of 150 points. So he missed out on a quarter of his autographs. And so that just, to me, tells that, hey, we can drop these points in and then push out more base product because we don't have to guarantee. And then all this stuff we have laying around that people send in late, whatever, it's the dollar bin cards. You always see the dollar autos, 12 for $1 or 12 for $10 at the shows.
I will say, at least for this card, I know of a certain card company, industry-related owner that would certainly love it, but it's not a top-tier name either.
No. So, it's one of those things, and it's frustrating, especially if you've been out of the year, almost 30 years, you're out of collecting. You go in, you're expecting like an autograph card, and you get some points, which you have to go to a website, hopefully find something. And then on top of that, pay, $8 to ship it to yourself.
Phone wallet, pop socket.
Antonio Morrison, an undrafted free agent linebacker that played for the Colts years ago, here, 50 points.
Yeah. I mean, literally, Tim and I, go to this. In fact, our LCS owner Greg's having a birthday today, so happy birthday if he's listening tonight. But for $10 you can get a ton of old autos and really nice relics and stuff out of his little dollar bin, just stuff that he's just trying to liquidate. It's a great way for me as a parent to try to get my son Bentley excited about the hobby, because he can go out there and get a big jumbo patch card. It doesn't matter, right, what player it is. But I bought him some auto cards and stuff for $1. To try to get him to appreciate and take care of those products. But I'm spending $1 at the LCS, right? This isn't my guaranteed hit out of an expensive box of cards that I have to fulfill and pay a ridiculous amount of shipping. I mean, Panini, come on. Team PWE. Send a PW. We'll be all right with that, man.
Come pick them up.
So, I thought it was an interesting, topic. We haven't talked about points in a while, and as Cardboard Icons kids say, points are poop, points are poop.
That was a great video.
It was. So $1 million at Trader Cracks, our buddy Ryan Cracknell tweeted out. There's an 86-87 Fleer basketball sealed case hitting the auction block. It actually hit a couple of days ago. That could top $1 million. It's coming up for bid through Collect Auctions. It's 12 boxes of 36 packs, all untouched since the day they were packaged. The opening bid on Monday was $250,000. However, with a single box recently hitting $100,000, the final price could hit over $1 million. It closes on August 6th. Last time I looked, there were 11 bids, and it was at $1.288 million.
Wow.
That's a house. That's a house, a really nice one. How would you play that if you had, let's say you were the winner of this? How would you guys play that case? Would you leave it intact? Would you break up the boxes, sell it pack by pack? What would you do if you had?
Yeah.
I'm buying
you
some
have
really expensive wine, getting hammered. I'm going to open it. Let's do it.
I mean, if you're somebody like Gary V, right? You're worth almost $200 million. What's $1.5 million, right? To open it, I mean, we saw when Darren Ravel was with Vintage Breaks, and they pulled what, 3 Jordans out of that one box.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you pull an average of 2, and so let's say you get 20 of them out of there, you know, and half of them grade well, you're going to get a decent return off the bat. Not to mention all of the other stuff that is valuable out of there as well that grades well. You know, that you can sell off for $500 here, $800 there. Yeah, why not have a ton of fun? You know, I mean, again, what's $1.5 million if you've got that kind of money?
Yeah, I'm going to fly in my best friends on from Twitter, and we're going to sit down, and we're all going to open it up together. And, you know, if someone rubs my feet, they might get a Jordan. They're also selling sealed cases of 87, 88 Fleer and 88, 89 Fleer basketball as well. Those 3 years of Fleer have been really popular, especially with the stickers, too. You know, collectors are building those sets as well.
I'd love to know the provenance, you know, of the boxes, and you know, if this was someone was holding on to them, or if this was like an old find or a store clean out or something like that.
Well, and that's equally, because I was actually pulling that up. On the side here, it says Holiday Wholesale Inc., Pioneer Road, Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin. I've been through there several times. It's one of the major towns that you cross through between Minnesota and Ohio, if you're taking that trek, cutting through Chicago. But I'd love to hear how it went from them to whoever's the current owner.
Yeah, I mean, that case looks nice.
Did I hear you right, Tim? Did you say if I rub your feet, you'll spot me the Jordan? Because I'm about 30 minutes away, dude. I can be there about 45 minutes
required
after
a
the show.
winning bidder to arrange for pickup or transportation from her offices in Wisconsin. So it sounds like whoever bought out, whatever the name of the company was there, something wholesale, Holiday Wholesale, is selling it.
It's incredible that something like that still exists, you know. Yeah. And I know it's not that old compared to, you know, on the Hobby Hotline we were talking about the T206s and how many of those still exist, and all of the history that they've had to live through with the wars and obviously Mother Nature for 110 years. But this is different than those are, because this is, you know, what's inside of those boxes, and even though it's not nearly as old.
No one wanted the product. No one wanted the product when it came out. You hear all the stories.
Yeah.
People were. You know. So, yeah. Now, would you erase a Luka auto? Would you take and scrub a Luka auto off a card? There's a guy thinking about it at Tommy's 54 or 54321 on Twitter said a lot of people remember that I got this card signed a few months back and have gotten mixed reviews about it. I'm getting to the point where I'd like to get the card graded by PSA, but still don't know what to do. My options if I should keep it or erase the auto. It's an in-person auto of an 1819 Upper Deck Optic Hollow rated rookie of Luka. And not graded, this card recently sold in the neighborhood of $700. Now, graded, it's been kind of all over the place. But he's thinking about erasing a Luka auto.
No.
$700 card.
One, you're going to screw up the damage.
I was going to say, yeah. What's the damage the card doing that?
Sell it.
Is he worried it's not going to pass authentication?
Possibly. I don't know.
It's in person. I mean, didn't he get it?
Yeah, one, you grade the card as authentic auto, and then you asked if it meets certain recommendations on the grade, and you grade it both, and then you sell it, and you go buy the ungraded version or the unsigned version. I don't know.
I mean, this card's got a card though. What's this card roughly worth with an in-person auto? What are we looking at? $1,200, $1,500? I do not know this market.
I don't either, but I do know that there's an appetite for people that collect in-person autos that maybe they're trying to put the whole set together, and just like what we saw earlier with the Allen and Ginter set, and that people don't want a certified auto. They want all in-person stuff. And, I don't know if someone would pay $1,000 for this, but it's possible.
It's
Well,
a beautiful auto too. It's not like it's it's got the deep ink. You saw like a lot of Bryce Harper's stuff where it starts to fade out because he's got that big swooping B.
Is there bubbling?
This doesn't have that. This doesn't have that issue. I'd be afraid that you would destroy the card, and you'd have this smeared auto, and now it's just junk.
So I was curious if I could find an in-person auto, and this was one of the results.
Seems legit. It's better than Cam Reddish.
And National's almost spelled right.
The stuff that people buy and sell is awesome.
15 bits.
It reminds me of the story I heard at the National last year was the guy that opened a box of 86, 87 Fleer basketball, pulls the Jordan, walks it over, PSA grades it, gets it back. It's a 9. He's pissed. He cracks it out because he wants a 10, and then he slices the card in the process.
Whoa. What is wrong with
sell the
people?
9. Sell the 9, pay the difference to get to the 10 if you want the 10 so bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oops. Now you got two 4.5s? I don't know.
Well, and you pulled a 9 and got it graded at a national, right? So just the story.
Like 30 years later, after the card was made, whatever that was, like 33 years later.
Just the story of oh man, that's just. You remember Tim sitting outside the card show, right? We were opening up the 87 stuff, right? And we didn't pull anything really good, but had we pulled a Bo or a Mark, it would have been really cool because if it's the story, right? That we were sitting out there being, big kids all over again type stuff, right? This is pulling a Jordan at a national, getting it graded right there on the spot, even if it's a 9. Come on, the story elevates it.
Oh yeah, no, it's just dumb. I know Bean wanted to hear us talk about this. I'm not sure if he's still around, but 2020 Topps Finest Flashbacks. This came out this week. So 2020 Topps Finest Flashbacks Baseball offers a new online exclusive product, obviously, because that's what Topps love to do, featuring the classic design. It's from 93. Each box contains one refractor parallel. It's $55 a box. Well, hell, that's awesome. 18 packs a box, 5 cards per pack. The All-Star subset is used again as a top loader, a jumbo version. If you were part of the Topps 582 Montgomery Club, you were able to buy it 3 boxes before the line was made available before everybody else was able to get on there. 2020 Topps Finest Flashbacks Baseball raffle they did. It's a first for the company. Topps is using an online raffle to help combat the bots for the main 2020 Topps flashback release. So what they did is they opened it up to the Montgomery Club, and everybody in there was able to buy 3 boxes. And then I went today and signed up at the website to get a chance into a raffle to buy 2 boxes at $55, because God knows these are going to be $5 million by the end of next week. So I'm planning on buying. Hopefully, I get in there and I can get 2, and I can spend $110 and then sell them for $5 million. I can go buy this case because I'll have enough time to do that and be rich. And then I'll open up the Jordans and use them as confetti around my house. But I mean, I love the 93 Finest as much as anybody, but
it's just I was talking to our buddy Matt Major, Topps Living Stat, because he was going to buy some, and he's talking about pack odds, and he got rid of most of his product already. And I was like, man, I was really hoping you were opening, because for me this is a Gigo product, right? You want to get in and you get out. I don't want to stick around as a collector very long. It's just, to me, it just reeks of desperation. It's just one more thing, and we talk about that so often. How we should be excited, but it's just one more thing for us to have to collect or roll our eyes at and move on, depending on.
Or to piss collectors off because they can't get it.
Well, this goes back to the contract that you guys brought up earlier in the show, and there's this, they have to keep putting out product because of the contract, and this is another obvious nostalgia play. Like I saw a Luis Robert card, and I was like, wow. That it brings you right back to looking at that Topps Finest when those packs were really expensive for the time. And But Finest has not done well. Like every year I open it, and just in general, their Finest product does not hold value or attention.
Yeah. I think that's why we were talking about how it's been a kind of a good buy, because if you hit a good case of it, like you find and you buy a box out of that case, you're going to do well. It's a really boom or bust product when opening it, so you have the a good chance. But the price has been stable, like 140-ish bucks a box, which today seems very reasonable to get 2 autographs and some of the cards you could get out of there, compared to whatever all the other products been this year. Because a lot of people are complaining like everything's over $200 a box. How am I supposed to get in and open stuff? And so it's one of those things. I think this year it's just I have no idea where this card market's going. We've said this week after week. I feel like it can't get any bigger or broader or crazier, and then it does. Like we double down on ourselves again, and it's like, okay, well, what's gonna happen next? So we have people paying $100 a couple weeks ago for an Andrew McCutcheon, card and
now they're doing it for a decade's best Pete Rose.
Yeah. So did you know there's an Onyx Bowman set coming out? At Onyx Authenticated, tweet out looking for Jason Dominguez autograph cards. We have some Bowman paper.
I can give it, but go ahead.
Yeah, Bowman paper for $200 each. They're offering a very limited amount of signed Bowman Camo Edition as well, and those are $250. But you also can buy their Onyx Vintage Editions as well. But no, they went out, they picked up some Bowman papers and had Jason sign them. Kind of an interesting play into the market, right?
Yeah, I mean, they just sent me a box. I'm going to open and review it hopefully later this week or early next week. And I'm guessing when they went down to do the signing with him, because they had advertised the signing, not that, having him in that product. And I think that was big. And I'm sure, when they went down, they grabbed a bunch of the, the Bowman cards and added it to the signing, which I think was a smart move on their part.
No, I do too. It's just kind of an interesting play to take someone else's product that's been pretty hot, a certain hot card, and then have him on side card it and then, resell it. So, hey, you have to play with the rules that you're given. And if you can find a little loop, it's like, I feel it's like a Bill Belichick move. Like, you didn't know that this rule existed, and I'm going to exploit it at the right time and right place. And they did it, I think, with the right guy. So, very interesting to see.
Real quick, Nick, what is the card stock on Onyx like? Because I was considering buying one of the A's prospects a while back, and I don't want to get into a situation where you get it and it's just flimsy. I got Leaf cards. I know what their stock looks like, but I don't have any Onyx to my knowledge.
Think of Topps Heritage, like maybe from a cardboardy kind of feel, a little bit thick, a little thicker. It's a good quality stock on the cards.
I kicked myself.
It looks like visually.
Yeah, I kicked myself because when I was at the National, they had a lot of big prospects last year. The on-card autographs of their Onyx stuff was around $20 for a player, right? And they had stacks of them. When they sold out, and there was a couple of giants in there that I should have picked up, because now they're going for $40-$60, and I did look at the cards, and they have that heritage feel to them. It's a card. It feels like a really nice baseball card. And
they are.
It has a look, so
I've spoken with Lance Fisher, good dude, and they're really doing their best to get in with guys early. And even this year's product, if you look at the checklist, they have some impressive signers. I think Ichiro is one of them. Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan. They have Acuna in the set.
He was early on. I remember he was big on Gary Sanchez early on, I believe, and then also too. I think he was on Robert Paulson, right? The kid from the A's.
Yes.
Yeah, that was who I was looking at buying. Maybe we'll have to reach out and see if we can get somebody from Onyx on the show. Maybe next month when our schedule opens up a little bit.
I will say I absolutely love their design for this product. I don't know whether the base look like this or this is just the signature design.
That's a base. That's a base design.
It is as well. Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a spin on the 65 tops.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they don't have are the logos, right? It's similar to like Panini and Donruss, where they have the agreement with the players.
That's not for everybody, but
And I think he was big on Sano too. He was always big on some prospects maybe that nobody heard, like you kind of heard of or didn't really know about, and he was always on them first.
Yep.
And getting an auto out, and so that was his that was their niche, and that was very smart to do that. Like, hey, this is the very first auto of this guy. If you're this team or want to be this player collector, so guys, any final things before we head out tonight?
Just one thought on that, real quick, is companies that exploit market inefficiencies, right? There's nothing wrong with an accountant that takes advantage of a loophole in tax law, right? It's there for a reason. You exploit it if you're aware of it, right? So if you take somebody like Leaf or Onyx, who's kind of playing this uphill game, if you have the wherewithal to be able to exploit something in that market, like this whole Bowman thing, hey, more power to you. If you as a collector choose not to collect that, that's your own prerogative. But I don't fault these other companies that don't hold licenses for trying to get into an oligopoly that is heavy, top heavy, and very exclusive, and have exclusives within that oligopoly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, hey, Nick, we thank you so much for coming in, and I know it's late for you hanging out with us late night, and I really love your sign behind you. That's sharp.
Right.
I thank you to the good people at Ultra Pro for hooking that up. I think I've seen you with it. You have yours as well, right? And yeah, they did a really good job. My buddy Gio for he's at WTHBALLS for doing the logos. Really good dude.
Cool.
And man, it's
pretty good mock-ups.
Yeah, he does, and it's been nice having this. In the background when, I'm on programs like yours and doing interviews. And, I always love coming in and talking with you guys and hearing your perspective on the hobby and interacting with you on Twitter. You're definitely part of the group that I consider the voice of reason in the hobby with, so many people that are, outside the lines. You guys keep it, in fair territory. And I like that.
Sure.
Well, we appreciate it. You made me famous with my mom because when she, I sent her a link. Hey, I was, quoted in a Forbes article, and then all over, then it's on Facebook, and hey, my son was in a Forbes article, and it's like, so I appreciate that. Now she likes me again. So
two minor.
I have to produce like a grandkid or do something like that to have her, renew.
Two minor things for me before we push out. One, I know I hit up on a minor interview topic while Tim was buffering out, but second one, of the players that you've interviewed, especially vintage, who's your favorite interview?
Wow, like of like older players that I've spoken. I really had a wonderful time talking to Minnie Mignoso before he passed away.
Sure.
I got about an hour with him when I was in Philadelphia, and literally, like how we're talking, I sat across from the table. I was at a Philadelphia Athletics historical reunion where they brought in a few guys from the old Cuban League, including him, and he gave me stories about, Satchel Paige and Silvio Garcia. Look him up. That was the guy that Branch Rickey was considering before, Jackie Robinson had come up from Cuba, because Minnie played in the Negro Leagues with the New York Cubans from 44 to 48. And, Minnie treated me like he knew me for a long time. And I feel like Minnie did that with a lot of people. And I met him a few other times over the years, and he's very endearing and had, wonderful stories to share, and was like a very open book. And that caught me off guard, because at the time I'm like, oh, this is Minnie Mignoso. Is he really going to want to talk to me? And he's like, I will answer any question you have. And that went on for an hour. And, I really, took that with me, and I had the chance to catch him a few other times over the years, and he was just wonderful. And you could see why the city of Chicago, took him in and loved him.
Fan favorite. Did you have a chance to ask him about his 80 brief game appearance?
Yes, he did an event here in New York City, the Cuban Baseball Congress. I think this was like 2012. And they played the video of him hitting against Tim Burdack, who walked him.
Right.
And Minnie just had a funny story about going up there, and he's like, I can still hit. I think,
Julio Franco could still hit. Like,
Julio Franco could rake.
62-year-old.
I mean, that's what I think about when I see Julio now. I think I put something on Twitter. I'm like, that was Mini. Like, Mini stayed in excellent shape. He got around well, and he was willing to take some hacks at what he was like 80 when he took that. Yeah, when he took that at bat, or 78 or something like that.
I think he had 2 separate stints, one in 76, one in 80.
Right,
Nick. I got some homework for you. Can
All
you
right.
get Julio Franco on our show? If you do, you will be my best friend for life.
I would love to get in touch with Julio. That's he's overseas right now, and I think that's gonna take some translation, Google Translate, and maybe our buddy Korean Cardboard, who's out there, can maybe help get a connect or a contact or some translation going on.
Let's make this happen, okay? I
right.
want Julio Franco
to
to
the
be on the
swing
show
as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And he could rake, and they showed that video, and he was still hitting. It's just like
I would take Ricky Henderson and Julio Franco on my team right now at their current age, any day of the week, because I guarantee you those guys could make most 25-man rosters and probably be maybe at least a DH, right?
And then secondly, do you guys need any lunch meat? Or maybe some USDA choice beef?
You have to tell the whole story on that.
Or maybe some whole roasted chicken? Because I think Ben's trying to imply that I go to Whataburger too often, because I get this in the mail.
Coupons.
And while the 2 included cards were nice, I don't think I need the coupons to buy lunch meat.
No, but I tape the shit out of those. We want to talk about PWE. I use so much tape to tape those to that piece of paper. Because, dude,
tape on it.
It's Steph. Why not, right? I mean, let's throw the whole playbook out. And I just happen to have a Safeway ad there, and I'm like, you know what? I don't go to Safeway, so maybe Steph will. Why not throw some extras
story
in there?
What happened with the Stubbs thing? We ended the show last week. It's off air, and we're chatting. We always do. And we talk about, I said, hey, did you guys see the TikTok where the guy was at the grocery store and saying, no Stubbs, and he's turning all the Stubbs barbecue sauce around. Don't take my Stubbs, because Aunt Jemima went away and they didn't want him to take Stubbs because it's his favorite barbecue sauce. Steph pulls out a bottle from his desk, not even knowing I'm going to talk about this, and shows, you got some Stubbs right here. Because we always joke that whenever we bring up a card, he pulls a binder out of somewhere and then can show us the card. And he had barbecue sauce within seconds. And I almost pissed myself. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah, we joke about the fact that he's a time traveler, that he watches our show tomorrow and then comes back so he has the cards
props
available and ready. And so then I had made a comment, and I forget what it was now, but I made a comment that led Tim to go, oh, yeah, by the way, did you guys see this video? And Steph pulls out a Stubbs barbecue bottle out of his backside. I'm like, all right, seriously, dude, where's your DeLorean? This isn't even funny anymore. What are the odds? A card is a card. We literally talk about cards, right? But we don't talk about barbecue sauce. And he's like, I had chicken strips earlier. I'm like, of course
I
you
did actually have chicken nuggets that afternoon. So,
like, of course.
Well, guys, we're going to end on that. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
Remember to watch the Hobby Hotline on Saturdays and Mondays. Call in with any questions or comments. We really appreciate the support there. Make sure to subscribe and review the show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at our trading cards. Follow Steph at JunkWex Twins. Always follow Nick at Examine Baseball. You can always follow me at BigShep79. Please share your hobby stories and great polls. Send your questions our way and keep collecting. We'll see you all next week.